over the long term, what types of outcomes should a company expect from having a focus like Neptune's on climate resilience and the energy transition in this rapidly changing world?
I think there's no other option than having this focus. It's imperative, it's reality, and it's not only about meeting stakeholder expectations or being compliant. Ultimately, it's about doing the right thing.
Welcome to Better Businesses, Better Results, a podcast series focused on exploring how to build better businesses by starting with a specific why in mind. Hear and watch Carlyle portfolio company CEOs, executives, and management teams discuss the results they are aiming for and the value creation plans they are executing on.
Welcome back to Better Businesses, Better Results. I'm Meg Starr, the Global Head of Impact here at Carlyle. I am delighted to be here with Kick Sterkman, the Group HSEQ Director at Neptune Energy, one of the world's largest private, independent, international exploration and production companies. And we're here to discuss how Neptune is navigating the energy transition, and in particular, ways that Neptune has been leading the charge in reducing methane emissions across the industry. Welcome, Kick.
Thank you, Meg. I'm excited to be here. It's really great, so thanks for having me.
We are delighted to have you. So my first question is, how do you think about integrating climate change as part of Neptune's business strategy? You're in the energy business. It's mission critical to how you operate. What's been your approach to the energy transition as a firm?
So Neptune was set up with the energy transition in mind. Our vision is to meet society's changing energy needs. We have a gas-heavy portfolio because we see gas as an important transition fuel. And as our vision makes clear, we are not anticipating a static playing field. We are actively exploring activities that are close to our core competences, like carbon capture and storage and hydrogen generation and transportation, while continuously working to deliver our products with the lowest possible environmental footprint. It's challenging, with stakeholder expectations often outpacing the actual technical development, but it's also very exciting. This is a monumental shift, and we're in the middle of it.
That's really interesting, Kick, because the energy transition is just that. It's a transition. And I think sometimes we think it's as easy as a flip of a switch. But it's really neat to see how Neptune has been thinking about really actively shifting your business mix in line with energy transition pathways. So next, I wanted to delve into an interesting topic, methane. Methane has one of the highest climate forcing potentials of the greenhouse gases, and Neptune has been really focused on it for quite a few years. So can you walk me through your oil and gas methane partnership, and particularly your target to have net zero methane emissions by 2030?
Yeah, of course, yeah. So OGMP 2.0, as it's called now, is a voluntary initiative created by the Climate and Clean Air Initiative, which in turn is a voluntary partnership of governments, businesses, and science institutions hosted by the United Nations. So as you talk about flipping a switch, indeed, this is a process in which we need to learn, to progress. And OGMP 2.0 is the forum where businesses that are active in the oil and gas sector work together to reduce methane emissions. So we were the first independent E&P company to sign up, and we did so because we think that cross-industry collaboration and embracing technology is crucial to cut operational methane emissions. We can proudly say that we have achieved gold status under the scheme. Our net zero methane emissions target is a public commitment that motivates us to drive our already very low methane emissions further down. So 2030 may seem still far in the future, but laying the foundations for that future achievement have already started.
That sounds like a tremendous amount of work, Kick, but really worthwhile. I'd love to hear more about some of the key aspects of what it actually takes to execute these methane emission reduction programs. There are a lot of benefits to them, but I'm sure there are many challenges in actually getting them together.
Yeah, indeed. I think that the key to any improvement program is to know where you start from. So methane emissions are complicated in nature. There are many different core sources, of which flaring, venting, and fugitive emissions may be the best known, but are certainly not the only ones. So emission from each of these core sources needs to be estimated, calculated, and ultimately measured, both at component level and at site level. This requires a wide range of technology and scientific methodology. And combine this with the differences in setup and age of our assets, and you'll quickly see the challenge. But the benefits are also very clear. I mean, first and foremost, this is about emission reduction for environmental benefits. Methane, and you said it already, is a very powerful greenhouse gas, but it's also relatively short-lived, meaning that emission reductions will contribute faster to the necessary improvements. So the second reason is a very logical one from our business perspective. I mean, methane is our product. So whatever we release does not become available to our customers.
That makes a lot of sense, Kick. So once you decided to set the net zero methane emissions target, what were the next steps? I know Carlyle and Neptune have partnered together in a few different projects, and I'd love to hear about how this helped build towards the target and more broadly embedding the energy transition across the business.
Sure. Well, luckily we had a bit of a head start. So we were already a member of the original OGMP initiative, which required us to be able to quantify and report our emissions. And also our operated assets are situated in countries with quite strict legislation with regards to emissions. But yeah, indeed, net zero is different and more challenging, of course. So in 2020, we were invited by you in Carlyle to a climate change webinar, along with many other of your portfolio companies. And in this webinar, we started talking about our methane management. And during our discussion, we were quickly met with interested but also very critical questions from EDF, which is the Environmental Defense Fund. And from this first contact emerged a project in which Carlyle, EDF, and Neptune Energy are working together to research site-level methane quantification methodologies. So I think this is a great team. I mean, Carlyle is a powerful driver of climate resilience and sustainable growth. And then EDF is a leading NGO with a deep expertise on methane emissions. And we in Neptune, we have a strong desire to develop the tools that will facilitate and validate our reduction efforts. And with our current low methane emission levels, they are so low they're not detectable by satellite, which is a methodology for site level quantification. So what we do in our project is we use more granular technology, being a rotor drone and a fixed wing drone that we deploy to measure methane emissions from our Cygnus platform, gas production platform in the UK part of the North Sea. And this is exciting technology that once successfully established will serve to verify our emission levels, but also to ensure future compliance with more strict regulation that we expect to be submitted to in the very short term.
That's really interesting, Kick. And I think a partnership like that is a real sign of the times, that we need all stakeholders working together to run as hard and as fast as we can at the energy transition, from environmental NGOs like the Environmental Defense Fund to investors like Carlyle to the operational experts like Neptune. So it's been a really interesting project to all collaborate on together. So my last question focuses on outcomes, because that's really what matters in this case. So over the long term, what types of outcomes should a company expect from having a focus like Neptune's on climate resilience and the energy transition in this rapidly changing world?
Yeah, I think there's no other option than having this focus. I mean, it's imperative, it's reality, and it's not only about meeting stakeholder expectations or being compliant. Ultimately, it's about doing the right thing. And again, we're fortunate to have shareholders that encourage us in these efforts, because what is cutting-edge voluntary achievement today is a matter of compliance tomorrow in, as you said it, a changing world.
Thank you, Kick. And I think Neptune's a really great example of something that our CEO, Kyu-Sung Lee, talks about, which is that we need to invest in the energy transition, not divest from it. And that means investing through the expertise and operational prowess of organizations like Neptune that have been embedded in the energy system for years. So I really appreciate you coming on to share all of the things that Neptune is doing to really push forward the energy transition as you shift your business mix. We appreciate you taking the time and look forward to continuing to work with you on all of these projects.
Thank you very much, Meg, for having us. It was a pleasure being here.